What's up, everybody? My name is Jason, and welcome to $50,000 EIDL grants in the HEROES Act. What? Yes. Happy Hump Day. It's September. What is this? The 30th, 2020. Please give me and the Rolling Stones a big thumbs up. Hashtag EIDL with all your thoughts and your comments below. Make sure you share this video all over social media. And if you're new to the channel and you want something different, new and exciting, I think you're going to want to subscribe and hit the bell. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the last couple hours you may have seen the breaking news where Secretary Mnuchin said he is preparing to counteroffer Nancy Pelosi's $2.2 trillion HEROES Act with something that resembles the $1.523 trillion Problem Solvers Caucus Bill in the House. Why do I think that is brilliant? Two reasons. Number one, if you read the Problem Solvers Caucus Bill, which is $1.523 trillion compared to Nancy's $2.2 HEROES Act, there's no pork in it. This thing is loaded up with poison pills that Mitch McConnell and the Republicans in the Senate are never going to go for. But the bipartisan, which is the second reason why I like the fact that Mnuchin is talking about countering with something like what's in the Problem Solvers Caucus Bill, there's no pork. And it's 50 independents, Democrats, and Republicans. It's not Nancy and a couple of her cronies tucked away in some back room trying to pay somebody off $300-400 billion that has nothing to do with COVID-19. By the way, shout out to McDonald's. I would like to have, what is that worth? Got to be worth 10, 20 grand on TikTok. I'm blowing up on YouTube thanks to you guys. I know. I shouldn't do that. I just went through a drive-thru on McDonald's. I was overcome with guilt on the way home. I think I inhaled the cheeseburger combo, and I had an apple pie and all sorts of things. So my blood pressure and my blood sugar are off the charts. And I'm proud. This is probably going to be a train wreck of a video, but I don't edit anything. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. We've done 95 videos, 2 million views. We're rocking and rolling our way to 100,000 subs, and I will never, ever edit a fucking video, including that word out. So why are we here today? Love you guys. Why are we here today? I want to talk about what I said last night on the community page. You really need to pay attention to what we're doing over there. I put out a lot of stuff, not just my handsome photo like some of you like to say, but I put that out as a personal touch. I want you guys to know who I am, what I'm doing. I was sitting on this couch over here the other day when I took that picture. But in the post last night, I alluded to the fact there could be $90 billion of grant money, not $50 billion, in this HEROES Act. So allow me to explain. Before I do, there's going to be some of you that are going to get real confused. And you're going to say all sorts of crazy shit in the comments. Settle down. The reason I'm doing this video is to say, I think you got a shot at more than 10 grand for the grant. Let me say that again. I think you have a shot at more than $10,000 for the grant. How much more? At least $50,000 more. So if you can sit down and be quiet for the next 7 minutes, I'll explain it to you. There's two versions of the HEROES Act. I need another drink. There's two versions of the HEROES Act. The long version has 2,150 pages. The short version has 87. The reason that I and Meet Kevin and even Rod Squad, great channel, missed it 2 days ago initially is we were all scanning under EIDL. I found EIDL in the summary right away. I couldn't find anything to do with $50 billion. Neither could Meet Kevin. Well, the reason for that is it was on page 5 of the short version. One line. I'm going to read it to you real quick. It wasn't under EIDL. It was under something called Assisting Small Business. $50 billion in grants to small businesses that have suffered financial losses as a result of the coronavirus outbreak. So there it is. At a minimum, stick with me. I'm going to explain why I think it's $90 billion. There's $50 billion there. But then, as we discovered yesterday, when you go into the long version of the bill, and I'll pin the long and the short in the top comment if you want to knock yourself out. On page 64, I need you guys to follow me here. Please, don't click off the video, and I need some of you that are really with it these days to pay attention because I'm not crazy here. There's $90 billion with the grants and a hell of a lot more than 10 grand on the line. On page 64, Small Business Administration Emergency EIDL Grants. I know this is going to sound like a lawyer, but bear with me. It'll make sense in a second. For an additional amount for emergency EIDL grants, for the cost of emergency EIDL grants, I know it sounds crazy, authorized by Section 1110 of Division A of the CARES Act. Think about what I just said. They said EIDL related to the CARES Act, Section 1110. There's been a couple of accountants point this out on Twitter in the last 24 hours, which gives me credence that I am right about this. There's $90 billion here, and if I'm wrong, you're still getting more than $10,000 the way this grant is, or this law is written. So once again, it says for an additional amount for EIDL, blah, 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 by Section 1110 of Division A of the CARES Act. $50 billion to remain available until expended to prepare for blah, blah, blah. It then goes on to say, and this is very important, so stay with me, provided that the amount under this heading in the Act, $40 billion, shall be for carrying out subsection of such Section 1110. Now, I know that's a mouthful, but it just referenced the CARES Act. So what a couple of accountants are saying, and I'm not saying this is a guarantee, but the fact that they're saying there's $50 billion related to Section 1110 of the CARES Act means there's $50 billion set aside to pay you the balance of the 10 grand you were owed as it was promised in the CARES Act of Section 1110. Because what did it say? Up to $10,000 within 72 hours. So to me, and to a few of them, this says $50 billion is basically to fix, as it does in the Senate Bill S4227, what they screwed up over the last 6 months. And that's to get every one of you the balance of 10 grand that you're owed. And a loan now, according to this bill, by the way, they got rid of the caps, up to $2 million if you qualify. Okay, so fair enough. At minimum, we can all agree there's $50 billion of EIDL grant in the HEROES Act. But then, please allow me to scroll. I don't do the screen shares yet. I haven't figured that out. So please bear with me 2 seconds as I go down to page 33 of 87 on the short version. I talked about this yesterday afternoon. The EIDL SBA Lifeline Grant. It's a new grant for $40 billion. So, was I just reading that there's $50 billion of EIDL grant and the $40 billion related to Section 1110? Or is this an extra $40 billion? Well, the reason I think it's extra is the SBA Lifeline Grant was not in the CARES Act. I just read you something that referenced the CARES Act. This was not in the CARES Act. That was. So I think there's $50 billion to get you $10,000 or the balance thereof. The other $10 billion must be for anyone who's new, and it would make sense, right? It took us 5 months to get through $20 billion on the EIDL grant before they ran out on July 11th. Another $10 billion should easily suffice anyone who hasn't already applied. This is a separate grant. It's $40 billion. And as I said yesterday, and I hope you're sitting down because this is a holy shit moment, not only for me, but it should be for you. If you have 50 employees or less, and you can show a 30% revenue drop or more, and who hasn't? I've lost more than 30% of my revenue as a result of this lockdown. I guarantee almost every single one of you have. So if you are someone, sole proprietor, independent contractor, small business, and you've got 50 employees or less, and that's almost everyone watching, and you can show a revenue drop of 30% or more from COVID-19, then according to the HEROES Act, and I'm going to read it again as I did yesterday, firms can receive the lesser of working capital needed for 180 days, that's 6 months, or $50,000, the lesser thereof. So in other words, as I said yesterday, working capital, that's payroll, including to yourself, business credit cards, rent, utilities. Everyone watching, for the most part, when you include what you pay yourself, most of you are making at least $5 grand a month, right? With all that working capital added together. Well, what's $5 grand times 6 months? That's $30,000, ladies and gentlemen. And you can go as high as $50,000. So think about what I just said to you. If I'm right, and I'll explain if I'm wrong in a second. If I'm right, there's $50 billion that goes to get you 10 grand that you're paid in full or the balance thereof. And then there's a separate grant known as the SBA Lifeline Grant of $40 billion. And it says $20 billion will go to those that are less fortunate, those that have served, thank you very much, in the armed forces, etc. We're not talking about $10,000 here, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about up to 60. And if you read in the bill, it says that you can use the SBA Lifeline Grant to pay off your PPP and your EIDL loan. And it also says that when the SBA gets down to only 25% left in the Lifeline grant, they must alert Congress for more money. In other words, they're never going to run out. If you stuck with me this far, allow me to give you the worst case scenario. There's at least $50 billion here, right? Right. They wouldn't be talking about the Lifeline grant if that wasn't part of or in addition to the $50 billion, right? Right. So if you've got less than 50 employees, ladies and gentlemen, and you can show a 30% drop in revenue, you have a chance at up to 50 grand of free money. Not only free money, but money that you can use to pay off your PPP or your EIDL loan. And when they get down to only 25% left of the $40 billion, Ms. Carranza, and I hope she follows the law, is supposed to alert Congress for more money, meaning they're never going to run out. So what's the worst case? Well, the worst case, according to this, is that you stand to get up to 50 grand. As long as you have 50 employees or less, and you can show a 30% drop in revenue. That's a hell of a lot more than the 2, 3, 5, 10 grand that many of you are waiting for. And if I'm really, really right, you get $10,000 plus a crack at another 50. And why do I think, before I let you go, I'm right? What's the EIDL for Small Business Act call for? $80 billion. $80 billion for the grant, $100 billion for the loan. If it's 50 plus 40, that's $90 billion. 90 and 80 is about the same. If you're not fucking excited at the possibility, as long as you've got less than 50 employees, that you might not only get 10 grand, but up to another 50 grand. And oh, by the way, if we have to reapply, who gives a shit? Would you rather get in the queue right now for 5 grand more or a chance to get up to $50,000 more? Hope it helps. Thanks for watching.